recording. So good afternoon and welcome to your Wednesday afternoon, 3 o'clock Baby Boomers Yoga at Zinner Mobile in Fountain, Colorado. So we've got folks in studio and online today. I'm going to go ahead and start recording. This Baby Boomers class is new to Zinner, so we're exploring and finding how we want to customize. So last week we spent, I think, the entire class seated. Today we're going to do much more of a hybrid class. So if you are watching the recording, you're going to want usual yoga stuff, and by that I mean a mat, a block or a block substitute, a strap or a substitute. I always like to have those handy. We may not touch them, and I like to have them handy just in case we organically move a direction that I hadn't planned. But I would like for you to have today a chair available. We're using folding chairs. Doesn't have to be a folding chair, can definitely be a dining room chair, but you want it to be something sturdy. And today we're going to spend about half of our class seated and the other half standing. All right, I'm going to get over to my mat, do the same, and I'll meet you there with your chair. Let me go ahead and close that door and get that out of our way. Now, set the chair aside. We're not going to use that for this first moment or two. We're going to start this first moment by just coming into the practice. So standing, I forgot to switch my notes because I got busy chatting. But standing, if you would, please. We're going to use the chair today like a big block. So don't be surprised by that. We're going to sit in it a little bit, but more we're going to use it by like a big block. But if you would, please come to somewhere on your mat. Get your feet a nice, generous hip width distance apart. And it's interesting to see when I say that, most people either grossly underestimate or grossly overestimate the width of their hips. But when I say width of the hips, what I mean is the bones. So the hip bones down to the knee bones, down to the ankle bones. So for most of us, that's about 2 fists, or interestingly enough, about the width of a yoga block is the same thing. But get your feet at least hip width distance apart. Plant your feet on purpose. So bring your feet in contact with the earth. Feel all the way underneath your feet. We don't pay any attention to that. I suggest you pick up your toes, wiggle them around and set them back down. You might even pick them up and look at them. It really does make a difference when you do that. Have your chair handy. Go ahead and pull that over in front of you so that you can rest hands on the chair, anchored down through your feet. And if you would, close your eyes for me. Now, if you're not comfortable in the space, find something to softly not look at. So let your gaze be unfocused. But if you're okay where you're at and you close your eyes, it just gives the nervous system a signal to relax and release a little bit. So our hands can stay on the chair if you'd like, because eyes closed affects our balance. Maybe roll one shoulder up and back, the other shoulder up and back, both shoulders if that feels okay. Find a little movement in your shoulders and in your head and neck. You can also use a wall for that sense of balance. But if you just keep a fingertip near the chair, that may be enough to help. And then come back to standing still. With eyes closed, find your breath. No changes, just find it. Where's your breath moving in your body today? And just for now, without asking how, let yourself sink into stillness. Just for now, let the weight you bear on your shoulders release. Feel the earth receive you and the infinite expanse of sky grow even wider as your awareness reaches up to meet it. Just for now, slow down and make space for yourself away from the noise. Just for now, listen to your heartbeat. Feel your lungs expand and fill with life. Now, holding this chair, go ahead and open your eyes. Let me talk just a minute about chair protocol, safety protocol. Whether you're using a folding chair or a dining room chair, all 4 feet on the chair on the same surface. So don't put 2 on your mat and 2 on the floor. That's a recipe for disaster. All 4 on the same surface. Here in studio or at home, if we're doing something where you feel like your chair might get away from you, turn it around and put it against a wall. You can always do that. We are going to sit a little bit today, but for the most part, we're going to use the chair like a moving block, a big block. I prefer when you bring your weight to the chair that you try to bring your weight to the seat of the chair, not the back, because it doesn't tip as easy. Now, for some of us, that's easier than others because we're taller or shorter, but that's something that you'll explore as we go on. So just have that chair standing handy. You might step back away from it. I'm going to choose to put my chair out beside my mat. You could put yours at the end or on the end of your mat. And we're just going to get started moving. So feet anchored to the floor, begin to just pick up your heels and go for a little walk. Toes stay on the floor, but pick up the heels and go for a little walk. And then let that movement come up into your hips and give your hips a little sachet. Yeah, it's Saturday night. We're all dressed up going out for dinner. So give the hips a little more movement and then let the shoulders get in on the attitude. Let the shoulders come out to play. And then maybe a little head and neck. Remember when you had long hair and you swished it? Yeah, just whatever organic movement makes some movement. And if you find a place that's sticky, maybe you stay there for a breath, or maybe you just keep moving. But find a little organic movement today, and then come back to some stillness. I want to talk about how we will talk. These first few sessions, we're defining a lot of terms, getting the same language. So we will move more, weeks go by. But I often say to you, engage the core and have students ask me what that means. So I want to teach you what that means. So stand up tall, shoulders up, back and down, stand up tall, hands on your hips, a little Wonder Woman here. Give me a big ha. That's it. Oh, you didn't see the attitude over here. I got some head going on. I got some attitude. Give me a big ha. Ha. Okay. Next time you do that, when you hit the end of the ha, notice how your whole body feels. So give me another big ha. See, all of that stuff is a little tight. So it's not, when I say activate the core, it's not about sucking your belly button in for bathing suit season. It's more about bringing your belly button back to your spine and up so that you activate all of those core muscles. So when you're in doubt, give it that ha kind of feeling, and that'll give you that. So that's one that we've defined. All right. And now the other one, and then we're going to start moving. You will hear me say over and over again, inhale, do this, exhale, do that. Inhale, do this, exhale, do that. Typically, most of the time, if I remember, when we inhale, we're growing bigger, taller, or spreading out. And when we exhale, we're folding in. So I want you to play with that for just a minute. And what we're going to do is a forward fold. So I'll show you and then we'll do it. I'm going to ask you to inhale, sweep the hands up and over to take up space. Exhale, fold forward, bring the hands to your chair and really drop your belly down on your thighs. So let's try that. Inhale, going up, spreading out. Exhale, folding forward. Let's do it again. Inhale up and exhale, fold forward. Now come back up. Now I want to do it the wrong way so that you understand why it makes a difference. And this will be a little confusing to do. So now we're going to exhale and then inhale as we fold forward. Exhale as we expand. And inhale as we fold forward. Now shake that out. See why it matters? You can't do it that way. That's right. When you inhale and you fill the body with air, there's nowhere for you to fold.
Well, I can fold. It's just wrong.
It's wrong. Exactly. So we want to start to plant that sort of seed of what feels right and what does not. And a lot of that is very intuitive. It just makes sense. There are some postures where it really doesn't matter, except that maybe we're setting up for the next breath or the breath after that. But so when I'm constantly saying, inhale, do this, exhale, do, that's why. It's so that we're getting that pattern going where we're moving with the breath. All right. Feet a nice hip width distance apart, or maybe even a foot wider. So make a strong base. You've got your chair handy. If your balance feels wonky, feel free to move to a wall or use your chair. This is called a floppy doll. So I'm going to ask you to stand up nice and tall, and then I'm going to ask you to let your hands just drop. Let them belong to somebody else. They're not yours anymore. Let the weight of your hands come into your mind. If you relax, you'll realize they're heavy. And now what we're going to do is begin to take a little sway, a little twist from side to side, and let your hands hang limp. Let your shoulders hang limp. And turn that little sway into a twist, and let the centrifugal force begin to take your hands around, maybe to your own backside. So your hands come around and sort of pat you on the back and go the other direction. Now relax the knees and let this motion move everything from your ankles north. You'll even find some swaying of your feet. Notice if the arches of your feet tend to drop in when we take this twist. It's not right or wrong, just awareness of what the different parts of your body are doing. As we take this little floppy doll, check that you didn't tighten up your shoulders. And you can also let your head go with the action if it feels good. If that makes you a little dizzy, then bring your head back under control. Take those little swings even bigger, even bigger, even bigger. And then slowly let them get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until you come back to stillness. Now, if the feet are a little wider apart, you might bring them back to a hip width distance. Stand up nice and tall. We're going to set in our first mountain pose, Tadasana. So anchor down through your feet. Actually, let's detour just a moment. Take your chair and turn it so that you can reach the back of it. What I'd like you to do is stand up nice and tall, anchored down through your feet. Pick up your toes so that your weight is in your feet, not in your toes. Now you can keep the toes lifted or you can let them come back to the earth, but the weight is in your feet. Just the chair, just for some stability. I'd like you to rock from right foot to left, left foot to right, just sort of rock from side to side without moving your feet. And notice what it feels like when your weight moves through your feet. And then come back to center and have about 50% of your weight on the right and 50% of your weight on the left. Balance them that direction. Have them balanced. See how that feels. Is the weight balanced right foot to left foot? That's what we're looking for. Is the weight balanced outside of the foot to inside of the foot? See if you can feel that. Then with your chair for stability, try a little rock forward and back. Maybe not all the way onto the toes, but onto the ball mounds or the base of the toes, and then back to the heels. Just feeling the difference. We don't pay any attention to the sensations of our body. So learning to watch, to listen, observe those sensations. Then come back to center. This time, rather than having your weight balanced, 50 front, 50 back, give me about 5% more weight in your heels. So just the tiniest little bit of weight more in your heels than is in the front of your foot. And then set your toes down. Check in that you didn't lock your knees. Give them a little wiggle waggle. You can squeeze your thighs, will help lift your instep. I'm a little flat-footed, so sometimes that helps me turn on those muscles that ordinarily would not be turned on. So what we're doing now is stacking our body. Heels firmly on the ground. Now we've got the hips over the heels. Invite the shoulders to come back over the hips a little bit and see what happened in your low back. Does that feel good? Does it feel bad? Too much curve? Not enough curve. Maybe you tuck your tailbone just a little bit or release your tailbone a little bit, but find a place in your low back that feels good. Then bring that sense of connection up into your shoulders, up through your neck, and to the crown of your head. So we're building our mountain Tadasana pose. Hands come down beside the hips and then roll the palms forward, thumbs facing out. And notice what that does in the shoulders. Do that a couple times. Just roll the hands forward and back. It's a good lubrication on the shoulder joints. But roll them forward and back and then end up with thumbs facing away from you. This is mountain pose Tadasana. And every yoga posture moves from this foundation. This is where we find our strength when our bones are stacked appropriately. All right, we're going to get this mountain moving, a little earthquake here. Big sweeping inhale, lots of air. Bring the hands up and let them touch overhead. Slow exhale as the hands float down the front of your body. Big sweeping inhale, hands come up and over. Exhale, hands float down your body. One more of those. Big sweeping inhale, hands up and over, and then they float down your body. Let's add on to that just a little bit. Big sweeping inhale. This time when the hands come up, drop the elbows wide, hands up to the ceiling. Click the shoulder blades together behind you. Check in with your low back, adjust your hiney. If you need to drop your tailbone or send it out to make your low back happy. And then on our exhale, we'll bring the hands together, drop them down by the sides. Inhale, take them up, drop into cactus arms. Exhale, hands come together in front of us and slide back down. Inhale, hands come up and over. Find the cactus arms. I skipped the desert there. And then bring the hands together and take them down one more time. And then give it a little hokey pokey. Shake everything out just a little bit. So we're going to work some strengthening in shoulders every week, hands in every week. We're going to work a little bit of everything every week. So this time, bring your hands together, still standing firm, solid, but not locked out. So strong and stable, but not stiff. Bring your hands together in front of you and bring your thumbs up to your breastbone. Let the elbows lift as much as they need to, but bring your thumbs to your body. Then we're going to work a little bit of rotation here. Leaving the heel of your hand touching your body, rotate your pinky finger down towards your belly button. It may not go all the way down, but just rotate it that direction. And then on the inhale, let the thumbs come back up to rest on your chest. Exhale, slowly roll the hands down. Can you feel that rotation up in the shoulders? And inhale, let the thumbs come up. Exhale, roll the hands down. And inhale, roll them up and shake that out. Do one more shoulder movement and then we're going to get the body moving. Bring the hands together in front of you. Big sweeping inhale. Hands come up and overhead and then flip the palms toward the ceiling and send the arms as high up as you can go, checking in with the low back. We're not compromising the low back. So the arms may not be all the way up. And then again, they may be way up. Thumbs can come together as you rotate the palms a little more toward the ceiling. And then on your exhale, let them come apart, sweep down. Our inhale, we're going to find them together. And this time, flip them on the way up with our inhale. Exhale, let the hands float down. We interlace the fingers, flip the palms, inhale to come back up, and exhale to let them go back down. And shake that out. Let's get moving this spine now. So we're going to do a standing series. We did this in the chair last week. We're going to do it standing this week. Every week, we will move your spine 6 directions. We're going to lubricate your spine. One wise old yoga teacher says you are only as young as your spine. You only get one, so we're going to take good care of it. So we're going to move it through its entire range of motion. So we're going to do some forward back and we're going to do some side to side. So the forward back is our version of cat cows. And I'll show you 2 versions. You can choose the one you like best. Bring your hands down loosely to your hip creases. So I'm going to turn sideways. This is an exaggerated standing motion. Our cat is when our spine is arched. So for our cat, we begin to arch our spine, let our elbows come together as if they were going to touch, and our head drops toward our knees. Now, don't let your head drop below your hips because we want to keep all of the arch in the spine. Always use the chair if you need it. Inhale, we uncurl nice and slow. Hands sort of slide back towards your backside as the elbows come behind you and the shoulder blades go back and the hips can start to come forward. Pass through center, and on the exhale, we're going to curl into that cat. And maybe we curl a little tighter, dropping the chin to the chest and getting the head involved. Then we slowly rise up. And on our next nice deep inhale, we arch the spine forward and let the elbows and the shoulders come behind us. Let's do one more. Exhale, curl this forward. And we'll take a full breath cycle, a short inhale, exhale as we come up, so that we're inhaling as we take our final cow and arch the heart forward and then come back to neutral. So that's one version of a standing cat-cow. My favorite is a little more dramatic. And if you have small children in your life, they love it. So you'll want to plant your feet a nice, more like shoulder distance apart. I call this the Denver International Airport cat-cow. So the way we do this one is our cat is when we're coming forward. So we'll start with a cow on this one, and that's when we're arching backward. So I'm at Denver International Airport. Wanda, I'm so excited to see you. Let me give you a hug. And you wrap your, that's it. Bobby, I'm so excited to see you. Other arm on top. Let me give you a hug. And so what we're doing is just really expanding and arching the spine. We're getting those vertebrae lubricated. So we do 4 of them so that we change which arm is on top. And then we come back down to center. And then come back up. So that's our cat-cows. We did our spine flexion and extension. Now we need to get a little side to side movement going. So feet anchored, nice, generous. Always got the stability if you need it. You can do one hand at a time. But if it's okay, we're going to bring both hands up and over. Now, if the arms get tired, do the Wonder Woman. Bring the hands to the hips. But if arms are up high overhead, left hand takes hold of right, arms to the left, and then take a side body down. 2 options here. Keep the hips over the heels, or maybe let the hips walk out from the really stretch. And then inhale to center, and exhale, take the side body bend. Inhale to center, exhale, side body bend. Inhale, center, exhale, side body bend. One more each direction. And exhale. Exhale, take the side body bend. And come back to center, shake it out. What we're doing is expanding our rib cage, making more room for our lungs to breathe. So our spine has one more direction to move, and that's going to be a twist. Last week we did it seated. Today we're going to do it standing. So keeping the hips and the feet pretty much aligned. You can take Wonder Woman or arms out. We want to rotate at the belly button and take our shoulders toward the other wall. And you can do that on your inhale is centering, and exhale is taking a little bit of that twist in the mid body. We'll do a couple of those, and then we have got our spine nicely lubricated. All right, shake that out. A little hokey pokey on that one. Now we're going to start to move a little more. These always go too fast for me. So I'm showing you seated last week, standing this week. The next time I'm with you, we're going to do a lot more standing and less seated. But I want you to have options. So we're going to take a maneuver here. I'm turning my chair so the face of the seat of the chair is forward. I'm going to take a maneuver here that's called a ragdoll forward fold. And it's a standing version of a child's pose. So if I were just standing, I would bend my knees pretty deep, let my tummy come down to rest on my thighs, and let my hands and arms dangle. but we have our chair handy. So bring your hands to the chair, find stability, then bend your knees and bow forward as if you were going to put your forehead on the chair. Let your tummy come to your thighs. Now, if your forehead goes nice and low, scoot the chair out of your way. But you can leave the chair where you can reach it for stability as we really stretch out the low back. And if you have your hands resting on the chair, let the weight of the elbows sort of draw your shoulder blades apart and down as if they were peeling away from your spine to give you just a little more length there. Then, since you have your hands nice and firmly grasped, begin to stand back up, unrolling your spine, and come back up to standing. So we're going to do a standing sun salutation here. We did a seated version last week. We'll do a completely standing next time we're together. But the chair is there for our stability. Like I said, I like to have the seat of the chair. I think it's more stable and it's a convenient height for most of us. So anchored through the feet about hip width distance apart, big sweeping inhale, hands come up and over. Drop your shoulder blades just a little bit. So it's like you're holding a beach ball on a windy day, and I'm going to take it away from you. So Bobby, drop your elbows just a little bit so your shoulder blades come away from your ears. Yeah, let your shoulder blades relax. Yeah, there you go. You got it. Wanda, you got it. This is extended mountain, Urdhva Hastasana. And then exhale, bring your hands through heart center. Bend at the knees, reach forward for your chair. Spine stays long and we hinge at the hips. So the back stays fairly flat. Now, if your hands go all the way to the floor, forget the chair. But you can let the hands rest on the chair for stability. Maybe you straighten the backs of the knees just a little bit. And we relax for just a breath. Then bring some weight into your hands. Bring your shoulders up level or above your hips so that your gaze is down at the chair, but your arms are straight. Then hinging from the hips, bend the knees if you want. Drop your head back toward the seat of the chair again. Push into the chair, open the eyes, inhale, lift all the way up. Take the hands to the sky. And then exhale, fold right back down, hands to the chair and forehead as low as you can go while keeping your spine fairly straight. Inhale, press weight into the hands, lift the shoulders up level with the hips. And exhale, let the heart, the shoulders, the forehead fold again. Knees can stay bent or be straight. Inhale, press through the hands, come all the way back up. One more time, let's come up and over. And exhale, fold it right back down to the seat of the chair. Inhale, halfway lift, find that flat back. And exhale, fold it right back down. Inhale, press through the chair, bring the hands up and over, and then hands to heart center. Super. That is sun salutation A, standing. We worked on flexion and extension. Now I'm going to show you a sun B, and we're going to use the chair for this one. Next time we're together, we'll do a standing version. So this one, you are going to want your chair on your mat so that you can be on your mat. So come to seated on your chair, facing forward. And we're going to work our right leg forward first. Have a block handy just in case you want it. Bobby, can you reach yours? Okay. So what we're going to do here is rather than work this way, we're going to turn our hips so that we're facing the short edge of the mat. Now, my left butt cheek just fell off the chair, and that's perfect. Right cheek is on the chair, and I'm going to scoot back enough so that I feel anchored on my right leg. Find a knee over the ankle. Left leg is just going to get out of the way. That's where that block can come in. If the left leg can go just dangle and that's comfortable, that's okay. But if that doesn't feel secure, you might bring the block down so that you can rest your knee on the block. so that you feel secure, so that you've got enough points of contact. And that takes just a little bit of playing with to find that spot. But you want your weight anchored over your right knee. So we're now in a seated version of what would be called a crescent lunge. So we can inhale and take our arms up to the sky, and exhale, sweep the hands behind you and fold your body down on top of your thigh. Inhale, sweep the arms up and over. Exhale, the hands come back. This is called airplane. And we let the body, the torso, come down to the thigh. And notice how as we change our balance, where we're looking needs to change as well. Do that one more time and bring it back. Beautiful. Come back to center. Let's go into a warrior two here. So for our warrior two, our legs are going to stay basically the same place. But what we're going to do is bring our hands, our elbows up to our collarbones, and then turn our elbows toward the long edge of the mat. And then we'll send one hand reaching behind us and the other hand reaching in front of us. Lifting up through the spine, lifting up through the crown of the head. This gives us a seated warrior two. Now we probably won't do this one much. It's a pretty awkward maneuver. Go ahead and drop your left hand down to your hip. And then our next move is an extended side angle. So with the shoulders still turned toward the long edge of the mat. Inhale to get long. Exhale to reach forward past your knee and then let your hand drop toward the floor. But we've got our ribs toward our knee, not our belly button. Our left shoulder is lifted just a little bit. If you need some help placing that block, let me know. You got it? Yeah, that looks solid. And then inhale. We're going to watch our balance. The right hand is going to come up and over. Left hand can come to the back of your chair to hang on if that feels good. And then relax that, release that back to front. Let's try that the other direction. Then I'll show you how to do it standing. Kneeling, this one is not intuitive and not really comfortable. You can find that block for the right leg, and we're just going to turn around. So now that the left leg is in front. Right leg is behind us. We're going to do our crescent sweeps. So inhale, the hands come straight up. Exhale, they float behind us, palms down as our chin moves past our knee. Inhale to come up. And exhale, shoulders are wide as we take our chin toward our knee. One more time. Inhale to come up. And exhale to take the airplane back. Inhale, come back to center. Make sure that right leg is anchored. We're going to move into our warrior. Or I said right leg. Left leg is anchored. Right knee is resting on the block. Bring your hands up, thumbs to your collarbones, and then turn your elbows toward the long edge of your mat. And then if it feels okay, one arm goes back and the other goes forward. Gets a big twist in the mid-body. That's what we're looking for. And we're looking toward the front middle finger. Now, if the back arm has gotten tired, bring it back to your hip like we did last time. But if you can leave it extended, we'll inhale and reach forward, and exhale, left hand goes to the floor, right hand goes to the ceiling. And the left rib cage is near the left thigh, and the right rib cage is shining at the ceiling. Inhale, we're going to find reverse warrior. Right hand can come back to your chair. Left hand comes up and over. And then come back to center, shake that out. Let's do one more each side in this seated version. So go ahead and just swivel around on your chair. Left knee comes to the block. Right one is down in front of you. And take your time to get stable in your seating. And let's find it one more time. Inhale, the hands come up and over. Exhale, we sweep it back. Inhale to come up and over. Exhale, we sweep it back. One more time. Inhale to come up and over. Exhale, we sweep it back. Inhale, come back to center. Let's set up for that warrior. Feet and legs stay pretty much where they're at. You might experiment with taking the block out at a little bit of an angle and see if that feels okay. If that still feels stable, then we'll bring our hands, thumbs up to the chest, Rotate the elbows to the long edge of the mat and then send the arms out. As always, left arm can stay out or can come to your hip. That's an awkward position there. So it may be better to bring it to your hip. But if you're in the extended side angle, we'll inhale, right hand reaches forward, and then tick-tock. Right hand comes to your knee or slides to the floor. Left hand goes to the ceiling. The ribs are stacked over the front legs, a whole lot going on, and it is actually much easier standing up. Inhale, reverse warrior. Come up and over. And exhale, bring the hands back to center. Let's turn and go one more time, the other direction. And then we're gonna stand up and work that one standing up just a little bit. So like I said, you might wanna play, does your block need to be straight out for a crescent? But when we move to warrior two, you might play that it's more comfortable to bring it out a little bit. But let's get that crescent sweep in first. Inhale, the arms come up and over. Exhale, the hands go down and behind. Inhale, we're lifting up. Exhale, we're bowing forward. Inhale, we're lifting up. And exhale, we're bowing forward. And then come back to center. Let's get that warrior going. Thumbs to the collarbones. Rotate the shoulders. Send the arms forward and back. Right hand can come to the hip if that's uncomfortable. If not, inhale and reach forward. Exhale, left elbow to the knee or maybe fingertips to the floor. Right hand goes to the ceiling. We're finding lots of length in the rib cage. Last move is our reverse warrior. Inhale, both arms come up. Right hand can come back to the chair as the left hand goes to the sky. And then release that, relax that, shake that out just a little bit. So I just wanted you to know the options on seated warriors. I think it's easier to do them standing up. The chair puts you in some awkward positions. But if we're working one day and you're tired, sit down, take a seat. Let's get in.
And I couldn't use the block under my right knee because it's too pressure.
Too much on the right knee, yeah.
Too much on the-
Yeah, we're gonna need to watch that knee, just to,
I know these things.
yeah. Well, there's always a way to go another direction. So we can just go a different directions. Was okay under the left, but not under the right?
Well, but doing that, just the
Too
pressure.
much pressure, okay. So we probably won't do a whole lot of kneeling stuff with you. That's easy enough. We can do some standing stuff. Got to work the core just a little bit before we move on, and then we'll move on. So seated on your chair, I like to be on the front half, feet nicely planted. And I like to do that guy on the subway thing where the knees are nice and wide apart, at least shoulder width or more. If your shoulders are not too tired, because we've been doing some arm work, you can interlace your fingers and bring them behind your head and then send your elbows wide. Now, if doing that causes you to drop your chin forward, then don't do that. Just bring your hands down to your elbows. But what we want to do is get in some folds, and we want to get in some twists. So another option, in fact, let's play with this one today, is bring your hands together in front of you. Interlace the fingers, elbows nice and wide. Depending on how wide your knees are, draw your belly button up and in, engage your core, lift up, and then fold forward. Take your elbows towards your knees. Inhale, engage the core. Use the belly muscles to lift back up. Exhale, fold it forward. Use the belly muscles. Inhale, lift back up. Exhale, use the belly, fold it forward. And inhale, lift back up. Let's add on to this. So still in this same position. Now, if this gets too much, take the elbows down and we'll just use the shoulders. But if we can lose the elbows lifted, we'll inhale, sit up nice and tall. Exhale, take the left elbow toward the right knee. And then come back to center. Leave the thumbs on your chest. Exhale, right knee to left elbow. Come back to center. Thumbs stay on your chest to keep you honest as you go toward one side and then go toward the other side and center and go to the one side and then the other side and center. One more, one side and then the other side. Come back to center. Let's add on just a little bit more. So this time we're going to take the left elbow down to tap the right knee and come back to center. Right elbow down to tap the left knee and come back to center. Left taps right and center. Right taps left and center. Left taps right and center. Two more. Right taps left and center. Last one. We tap and center, and we tap and center. Shake your arms out. Give your arms a big old shake, and then give yourself a hug. Wrap your arms around, and maybe it's a wiggle, and maybe you do a little cat or cow back, whatever feels good. But give yourself a little hug and wiggle waggle that all out. And then let's get back up to standing again. So coming back up to standing, you can use your chair whichever way you would like, all 4 feet on the same surface, and you can use the top of the chair or the seat of the chair. But in fact, for today, you probably are going to want to use the top of the seat back. You might even want to, I hate to touch this wall. You might even want to touch, that's too pretty to touch. You might even want to touch a wall to do this. We're not going to bring a lot of weight here, but standing balanced in your two feet. So nice equal balance, left, right, balance inside, outside, little bit more weight in the heels, and bring your hand down to the chair. Other hand gets out of the way. Up on your hip, wrapped around behind you, it's just out of the way. Shift your weight over into the foot that is away from the chair. Peel the toes up on the foot that's closest to the chair, and then flex your toes toward your nose. Now, if it feels okay, begin to lift that knee and heel a little higher, but make sure the hip doesn't pop out. We're staying anchored hip over knee over heel on the standing leg, and then take a tap down, shake it out, and let's do it again. Peel the toes up, and if this is where you're at today, it's where you're at. Stay here. Maybe you can lift the foot just enough to peel the toes up toward the nose, to flex the toes up toward the nose. Maybe it feels okay to lift the knee and the heel just a little bit higher to really turn on that glute muscle. And then whenever you're ready to set it down, give it a hokey pokey, shake it out. Let's do that one more time. Standing leg is firm, not locked, but strong. Peel the toes up wherever they are at, flex the toes toward the nose. Even if the toes are touching the floor, that's fine. Lift the heel, flex the toes toward the nose. But if it feels okay, lift it up just a little higher. Make sure the standing leg is strong, but stable, but not locked out. And then relax, release, give it a hokey pokey. Easiest thing to do is just turn around. I'm going to move my chair so that my backside is not facing you. And let's go the other side. So find your balance first. Find your stability first. Anchor down through the outside leg. Equal weight front or equal weight side to side, little more weight in the heel, and then begin to peel the toes up. Strong, stable, but don't lock out the knee. Flex the toes when you're ready. And then if you're ready, lift it up a little higher and a little higher. Keep your shoulders open. There's a tendency to round forward. So keep your shoulders open. We're really turning on that big glute muscle. And it burns. Tap it down whenever you're ready. Take it a little shake out. And then we're going to do 3 of these. So as you're ready, peel the foot up, flex the toes toward your nose, lift your knee just a little higher. And hold that as long as you're comfortable. You can always tap down, shake it out, and come back. And then drop the foot. Give it a little hokey pokey. 1 more of those. Find your balance. Every time we come back to neutral to reset, to find stable. So find your balance. Then we'll begin to peel the toes, the heel up, toes up, flex the toes, lift the knee as much as you're ready to today, and then set it down when you're ready. Super. Let's keep moving. We're going to use a little more stretching here in the backs of the legs. So the back of your chair facing you somewhere on your mat. Make sure that you can hold your chair, but step your feet back to where you do have to hinge forward just a little bit to reach your chair. You're not going to really put our weight on it. We're just using it for stability. Then anchor down through your left foot, step your right foot forward so that the toes are under your chair. So that should be a nice little stretch in the calf on your left foot. If not, maybe you take the left foot back just a little bit so that when you're standing with this right leg softly bent, there's a bit of a stretch in the calf on the back leg. Just find that stretch. Softly bend the right knee and let that stretch in the back of the left leg get a little deeper, a little stronger as you just softly fold into the right knee. Shoulders stay lifted and back out anytime you're ready. Then slowly straighten through the right knee. Shift your weight back on the left a little bit. Peel your toes of the right foot up off the floor and hinge your shoulders forward. So now we're going to stretch differently, but the same muscles through the calf muscles in the right leg as we slowly hinge forward. And then drop the right foot back to the mat. Let's go back to the left. Bend into the right knee as you shift your weight forward. Press down through the left heel as we stretch that calf muscle just a little bit more so we get a little more strength going back there. And then let's hinge back onto the left heel. Let the right knee straighten softly. The right toes lift. And we hinge the shoulders forward just a little bit more once again. Then bring that back to neutral. Step the right foot in, left foot in. Give it a hokey pokey. Shake it out. And let's go the other side. Now you know where you're going a little bit. It might be easier to get your alignment. Hands want to come to the chair. We want to step our feet back just far enough so that when the left toes come under the chair, we've got just the slightest bit of stretch going in the back of the right calf. We don't use our calf muscles a whole lot, and they really impact our balance. So we need to get those warmed and strong. So we'll start right foot on the mat, left foot on the mat, switch legs. Right heel stays on the mat. Bend into the left knee as you begin to lean forward, hinging from the hips, and find the stretch in the calf muscle. Now there shouldn't be much stretch in the back of the knee. It should all be from the bottom of the knee down to the ankle. So we just gently hinge forward. And then let's go back. Bring your weight back into the heel as we lift the toes. And then again, we're going to hinge forward. And it will depend on how tight your leg is. So for me, the other leg, I felt a big stretch in my calf. This one, I don't feel any at all. It's interesting. Not right or wrong, just interesting, just becoming aware. Let's go back the other way. Front foot goes to the mat. We begin to bend into that knee, let back heel firmly plant into the mat as we stretch up the back of that leg. We hold for just a breath. And then we come back, bringing our front legs straight. Weight goes into the back heel, front toes lift, and we hinge from the hips as we fold into the front just a little bit more. And then come up and out of that, shake that out just a little bit, give it a little bit of a hokey pokey. Let's see if there was anything else I wanted to do today. Let's go ahead and work just a little bit, as I mentioned, on our standing warrior. So you can put your chair beside your mat if you want it for balance, but I'll show you, I want to get across some foot placements for you for us to work on going forward. So we're going to get into this from a standing Tadasana. So feet anchored, shoulders up and back, heels on the floor, a little bit of weight in the heels, hips over heels, shoulders over hips, ears over shoulders. So we sort of over exaggerate so that when we relax a little bit, we still have good posture. Then step one foot out and then the other. So find a space that is more than shoulder width apart. Right, let's bring our attention to the right foot. Right foot is parallel to the short edge of the mat, or this is an option as we get moving into it. You can kick the heel out just a little bit. Just keep that in mind that that's always an option. But we're going to bring our weight into our right foot, pick up our left toes, pivot on the heel, and take the left foot forward. So now I've got my feet going opposite directions. That's it. You got it. One, I can't see your feet. But Bobby's feet are beautiful. Oh, I saw it. Thank you. I saw her foot. She picked it up so I could see it. All right. So this is what we call an open hip posture, and it's our warrior two posture. We drop into the lunge, as we say, by bending the knee. Now, the front knee should stay on top of or behind the ankle. If you need more space, you just walk out your lunge just a little bit wider. But we'll just start right here. Notice how one knee goes one way, one knee goes the other. You can always softly straighten the front knee. In fact, I strongly recommend that as we get started, that you just sort of keep that leg in motion. And notice when you move into that leg, notice that this one tips and lifts and lifts and tips. And notice where that's happening from, not the knee, but the ankle and the hip joint. Just notice that. So this is our warrior two leg. Let's turn the forward foot back around and just play the other direction. So back foot parallel short edge, anchor down through the front heel, rotate those toes forward. And then find your little lunge, and then lift up and out and up and out. Just finding the motion that's happening, mostly right here in that hip and ankle. Just finding that feeling. So this is our warrior two legs. All right, rotate the front foot back in. Let's go back in and put that warrior two together. So feet at least shoulder width. Mine are a little further because my legs are as long as I'll get out.
They run all the way from my ass to the ground.
Did you hear that? She is sassing here. Bobby is sassing the yoga teacher. There's more core in her future. Just wait. All right, good point. Back foot, we're going to anchor through the knife edge, rock up on the heel, turn the toes, and find your lunge. We're back to the arms now. Now, if you need to straighten up, do that. We're just getting this shape right now. Thumbs come back up to the collarbones. Rotate the elbows toward the long edge of the mat, and notice that your hips went along for the ride. Now, this is where you may find you want to change that back heel. Does it want to go out or stay square? Play with that, but then we'll send one set of fingers forward and the other set of fingers backward, and then eventually turn our head to look over the forward fingers. This is warrior two. We can bring the leg in and take the knee down. Bring the leg in, take the knee down, drop the hands to the hips if you're tired. Do a little Wonder Woman action. Just getting the feel of the posture. Then come back to center, rotate back to our wide-legged stance, rotate the other foot to the short edge of the mat, and let's find our stance this direction. Bring our thumbs back to the collarbones, rotate the elbows, the hips go along for the ride, the hips and the shoulders just follow along. One set of hands, fingers goes forward, other set of fingers goes backward. And we find our warrior two on this side. And maybe you leave the hands extended as you take that little tip into the lunge. Maybe you bring them down to your hips. We're just getting the feel for the shapes now. Then rotate the feet back in. Kick your heels in just a little bit. And with control, hands on your legs, begin to take a little bit of a forward fold. So leave your hands on your legs so you can put the brakes on whenever you're ready. Fold from your hips, let your hips go backward as you bring your gaze down toward the floor and bring the shoulders level with the floor. Use your hands to be your brakes. Then engage your core. If it feels okay, take your hands away from your legs, lift right back up. If you need to walk the hands up the legs, that's fine too. So let's try that one more time. Hands can slide down your legs to be stable, or if you're feeling Wonder Woman-ish, send the arms out, take the hinge from the hips and let the shoulders fold down level with the hips and gaze comes to the floor. Hands can come back to the legs to help you turbo boost up or pull the belly button up and in and come up, and this time send the hands for the sky. And then exhale, bring the hands right back down for heart center. Shake that out. Give it all a little wiggle waggle. Let's go ahead and come back to our chair. I think we'll finish out seated today and we'll get a hip stretch in. We haven't done a big hip stretch. We definitely want to work. We've worked shoulders a lot. You may be talking to me tomorrow about shoulders. And we worked some core. So I want to make sure we've got it. Definitely worked some. I think we've worked everything. So, yep. But I want to get, you feel, Wanda says, yes, we got the whole thing. Yeah. Want to get in just a little bit of a hip stretch here. So start with feet out in front of you, about chair width apart to start. We're going to do just a very gentle seated twist. And the idea of this one is less to stretch something than it is to untighten things. So right hand comes down to the chair, left hand comes around, maybe meets the right as we sit up tall and keep the shoulders open. We're just untwisting the low back a little bit. And then take an inhale, let the hands float through center. Exhale, take a soft twist the other direction. And inhale, come back through center. Right foot stays anchored. Left foot either comes behind the right and drops open, or if it feels okay, you can bring it up on top. If it doesn't, just bring it behind, sit up enough that you can let that leg drop open. You got it, Bobby. That's it. Sit there, sit up nice and tall. Don't let the ankle get stressed. So maybe keep that 90 degree. When you move it, keep that in place. Don't let the ankle get too stressed. Then sit up nice and tall. Hands can come to the chair or to your knees. If they come to the chair, you're very stable. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, fold your shoulders down toward your knees. We'll find a stretch in the low back and a little bit of opening in the hip. And then inhale, come back to center. Let's switch sides. Other foot. Now you can bring the foot up on top. You could take it, if you want to split the difference, bring it to a block. But we want this foot to come across the bent knee. So whether it's across the top of the leg or underneath the leg, let that knee rotate open, sit up tall, hang on to your chair, and take your heart toward your knees. And then slowly inhale, come back up to center. Bring both knees or both feet back in front of you. Scoot nice and solid back onto your chair. First, only time today I've let the back side of your chair touch the back of your chair. Feet at least hip width distance apart, if not further. And begin to just curl down, tummy to thighs. Now you can put your elbows on your legs to give your head a place to rest. And we come into a seated version of a child's pose. This is our last little stretch today. If this is okay, stay right here for our Shavasana. But if this feels too cramped, if it's a little difficult to breathe, leave your eyes closed, sort of slide your arms back up your legs and come to just seated on your chair with your hands relaxed in your lap. Eyes closed. And see where you can soften. Can you soften your breath? Can you soften your shoulders? Can you relax your forehead? Can you let your elbows be heavy, your hips be heavy? Let your legs relax. Knees can drop together or drop wide if that would feel better. Can you be 1% more comfortable just for now Can you make space for yourself away from the noise to remember the simple way again? Just for now, give yourself permission to be human, to let yourself feel, grow, and learn something new. To explore, to try, to fail, to live happy, free, and with peace. Just for now, slow down so that sunrises and sunsets can talk to you. Just for now, allow a wave of breath to set you free, to bring awakened energy tingling in your hands and feet. Let's take 3 long, slow, deliberate breaths here. Nice and long and slow, and then let them go every bit as softly and slowly. As you let the hard work of the practice sink in. And when you finish those 3 breaths, find some wiggles in your fingers and toes. Maybe lift the heels, roll the ankles, bobble the knees, roll the wrists. Whatever feels good to you, make those motions, and we'll close out our practice. I always close a practice in a traditional manner. No requirement to participate. It's just my way of thanking the thousands of years of yoga and yogis who have come before us to get us to this place. So I like to honor them, the past, the heritage, the history of this practice. The light in me sees, honors, and reflects the light in you. May peace be yours today, tomorrow, and always. May joy gladden your heart, laughter fill your hours, and may love lead your way on. Namaste. Namaste. Ladies, thanks so much for hanging out with me on this Wednesday afternoon. Let me turn off the recording part. And then if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, I really would enjoy that.